So, hello everyone. It's been quite a dramatic few days, I must say. Yeah, so it's just been the full moon for all of us. It was at around 9 a.m. here this morning. So actually it would have been Pacific time around 1 a.m. in the morning because there's an 8-hour difference here. And yesterday I've sort of been dipping in and out of a retreat that's happening here called Selkie Retreat, which is another name for the mermaids, you know, the kind of seal Selkie woman. And my friend's partner's running it, and we all went to the geothermal pool, which is this natural pool of warm seawater last night under the full moon, which was kind of very goddessy. Felt really amazing. Yeah, but it's felt very intense to me, like this whole kind of recoding of trauma. But the astrology explains it all, really, what's going on. So yeah, but I wanted to start with a meditation because we have been working with Circe, and I'm feeling the calling now of Medea, who is Circe's niece. And both of these sorceresses or priestesses worked with the plant kingdoms. And this full moon is in, the sun is in the 34, and Richard Rudd talks about the 34 as this very ancient shamanic wisdom of earth, but through the plant kingdoms, like the first life forms on earth. And then we have the moon in the 20, which is presence. And we've all done the delta here, actually. So we all have some familiarity with that kind of presence that is always behind all the movement and creation. So we're going to just take a moment to drop into all of that. So I invite you to close your eyes if you wish to. Let's just take a few breaths together. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just allowing our own being, our own energy to land fully in our body, feeling anchored in to the land wherever we are living, acknowledging with gratitude and awe that all the places that we live are sacred places upon the earth. And we're putting our roots deeply down into these places, allowing our priestess energy to anchor and root through our bodies. Moving now from our individual breath into a sense of a collective breath as we breathe in and out. It's one living, creating organism, fully part of, fully supported by the ecosystem of the web of life. Let's bring our attention first to this energy of a presence behind all created forms. It's a silence, a stillness, a vast intelligence, a vast wisdom that is of no gender and both genders. And this presence is both outside ourselves in the universe, but also inside the very fabric of our being. Just touch your body, perhaps your arms or your legs, acknowledging that within the spaces, the vast spaces, our spiraling DNA is this presence. Our co-creative power that lies within ourselves. Now I want to invite you to go on a journey backwards in time. We have this incredible DNA as a human. So just run backwards through your own mind, through the mammals of the land, the mammals of the oceans, the more primitive life forms, the fish, the reptiles, the insects, back all the way through the dinosaurs, arriving at a time so early on in our planet's creation that there were no animals at all, no insects, but there was the beginning of plant life. Just spending a moment tuning in to the miraculous appearance of plants on our planet, made possible through the presence of water and soil, the unique relationship of our planet to the sun and our moon that enables life to grow and form and create in so many myriad ways. And some of the earliest plants we had were the horsetail, great pine trees, the sequoia redwood trees, the mosses that started to colonize the rocks and the mountains as they rose from the ocean, forming the first land. And as we tune in to this plant kingdom, tuning in also to the sun, it's just completed its transit of the 34 energy of strength and majesty, the majesty of the trees, That this full moon that has just illuminated our planet is full of this energy, this green energy of the plants, the majesty of life, the presence of the moon in Gemini. As we see everywhere the Creator's hand, both within ourselves and outside ourselves. We are the perfect mirror. We are the manifestors, the priestesses of old, who renewed the world with our vision, our prayer, our rituals, our art, our creation. And so may it be, and so may it be, and so may it be. When you feel ready, gently opening our eyes and seeing each other, our magnificence. And a cat as well. Lovely to have a cat here. Divine will. So welcome everyone. I'm just going to have a look at the astrology of the full moon. Also have a look at where Vesta, Circe, and Medea, who feels like the next one wanting to come in. So she was the niece of Circe, and she brought the plant medicine more into the world of humans. So Circe kind of discovered the power, and Medea kind of was the channel of how humanity came to have this access to plant power. But first of all, let's look at some more sort of basic things. Okay, let's have a look at this chart. Having a bit of a coughing fit just at the right moment. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if I'm clearing something. That felt like quite a powerful through the throat here. Okay, so here we have the sun. Let me see if I can pick up a sharing tool of sorts. No, that's not it. Oh, well, here's the sun. Yeah, in the 11th house on my chart. So I've done the chart for London, which is the moon happened at 9:17 this morning. So a full moon, for those of you more new to astrology, which you all pretty au fait with astrology here, but for anyone watching later on YouTube, we know it's a full moon when the sun and the moon are exactly opposite each other. So here we have the sun is at 4 degrees Sagittarius, and the moon is at 4 degrees Gemini, which is the sign across. So in the meditation, I was talking about the 34, line 6, and that's where the sun is. And the moon in Gemini is in Jinki 20, which is this presence behind all things and our own ability to be present as well. So a very interesting full moon, and I wonder if you are going to have any stories about especially mother-child healing. So we have Ceres, the Mother Goddess, and this was also the case of the new moon, actually. So they're still pretty, this activation's been going on quite a few weeks. With Ceres, the Mother Goddess, has just entered Sagittarius, and then we've got Mars there. So this is like the mother and the son archetypally, but we also as females have an inner sun. And yeah, so in the Gene Keys profile, our EQ and our core are both actually Mars activation. So we can kind of connect it to that as well. But yeah, it's interesting. I've been going through some really profound inner healing for a while, actually, but it feels like it just keeps going like deeper and deeper, really. It's quite like, oh my goodness, intense. And it feels almost like quite dangerous, actually. I'll even use that word. But also I'm aware that my mom and my brother are having this kind of conflict as well. So with my sibling, there's also something going on that's more sort of mother-son energy. So for any of us, it could be going on inside us as an inner child healing our own mother and father, nurturing ourselves, which we talked about quite a bit in recent weeks. Or it could be something literally going on with our siblings right now, or male children, as Mars might represent. Okay, so interestingly, the other asteroid conjunct these three is Pele, the volcanic goddess. So the other thing that might be present is explosive anger coming out of nowhere. And that has actually happened to me this week. So I'm not normally an angry person, but I was like really interested when I saw Pele here. And some of us are contemplating Vesta as well together. And I have Pele conjunct Vesta in my chart. I'm like, okay, Pele's making herself known here in this kind of, kind of angry energy, which is not normally what I'm like at all. Okay, so that's the moon information. Few other interesting things. Point out this first. There's quite a lot happening at the early degree of signs. So these will connect with each other. We have Pallas Athena here is at 3 degrees Scorpio. So that's Gene Key 28, line 2. And actually, Medea is also in 28 right now. So it's interesting that Pallas Athena and Medea are together because Medea is the one kind of wanting to come forward next, I feel. And then we have Saturn here, has gone sort of retrograde back into Aquarius and is now back at 0 degrees of Pisces in the 55 gene key, moving from victimization to freedom. So Saturn in this position, I think, is a tricky one because Saturn is actually all about constriction and limitations. So the question is, like, how do we find freedom within the constriction of whatever we're facing, whether that's our finances or our health, or, Saturn's going to bring in the difficulty in that equation for us to kind of really have to find a solution. It's going to force a solution eventually. Or not, as the case may be, but there's definitely the potential to find freedom despite all the other things that might go against it, is maybe how I'd put it. Okay, so that's all things kind of happening at the beginning of signs. And when things happen at the beginning of signs, it's like a new cycle is beginning. So that's something to be aware of. There's quite a few new cycles here in Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Pisces starting. Okay, so the other interesting thing is Vesta and Astraea. So you can see here in my seventh house, bear in mind this is London, so just ignore the houses for this. I'm just saying the seventh house so I can point out to you where it is. So Vesta and Astraea are now moving retrograde. So they've actually been traveling together almost this whole year. And now they're actually going retrograde together, which is pretty amazing, I think. You know, if you think of how their energies might combine. So we've got Vesta, the priestess, and we've got Astraea, who is the goddess of the new golden age. And together, they're going forward, and now they're going back, and then eventually they're going to go forward together. And a lot of that time has been spent in Gene Key 52, which is where Vesta is now. But Astraea is actually in the 39th Gene Key. But the 52 really stands out. And I love the 52. It's my core vocation. And the hexagram is mountain over mountain. So it's this incredibly kind of stable energy, the 52. And when I think about, you know, the work that Tina's bringing forth around Vesta, what I'm seeing is this: we're creating a stable matrix through Vesta in the 52 right now. So it's almost like we're creating this 52 mountain over mountain energy within ourselves in order that we can manifest our own personal Vesta, wherever that lies, and all our other energies in this manifesting power. But it feels like the manifesting power is maybe not what we thought it was, because I know I've spent so much of my life trying to manifest unsuccessfully. It's like embarrassing, really. But I feel like I've stepped into something now. And I think this key is about, the real deep key is about really feeling part of the ecosystem of the earth and somehow overcoming that separation in our mind, that we are here and the earth is here. It's like, no, we are completely enmeshed in it. And, you know, and this is where our needs are met in the same way every other life form's needs are met, which doesn't mean we won't struggle at times as well, because all life struggles at times, and that's part of our evolution. But it feels like there's this new kind of abundant prosperity energy available to us, or the new codes are definitely, I feel, taking us in that direction anyway. Okay, so that's those two. Is there anything else on them? Yeah, so Vesta's quite early on, actually. So she's forming a water trine there to Pallas Athena at 3 degrees Scorpio, and then into Saturn. So yeah, we've got this wonderful water trine, which helps us bring in emotional intelligence in a nutshell. And then probably the final thing, because I don't want to overwhelm people with too much information, but this is very interesting that we have the Venus conjunct the South Node here, 21 and 22 degrees of Libra. And then across on the North Node, we have 22 degrees Aries, and Chiron is coming into conjunction with the North Node at some point, but they're sort of floating along there together, definitely in some sort of energetic connection, but it's not close together, so close together yet. Okay, so I just find the numerology of this quite interesting, because the North Node is Jinki 42, where that is. The South Node, this is Jinki 32, but we have this beautiful 22 degrees 42 minutes, and then Venus is 21 degrees 22 minutes. So it just feels like nice numerology to me there. And so the 32 has a special connection to Venus, because it moves from failure to preservation to veneration. And the word, according to Richard Rudd, the word veneration actually comes from the word Venus. And so knowing that, I always feel like the Inanna work, the following of Venus through her cycles, is very much the veneration of the ancient goddess energy. That's what we're doing. And we're, you know, Venus is also the ruler of plants through Taurus. So we are, through these processes of veneration of Venus and the goddess, we're renewing the earth, we're renewing the plant energy. And I know that taps very directly into some of our work here, working on the land, working with the land, working with Indigenous people who are restoring their traditions. And I say that about Britain as well, because always, you know, there's where I live here in Cornwall, there's this incredible tradition, Neolithic sites, they're everywhere. And there's so many languages in Britain, like Cornish, Gaelic, which are being renewed and reclaimed. So, yeah, I sometimes have a tendency to think of that out there, but actually it's also very present, where I think wherever we live and whatever lineage we're from, we actually have our own ancestral indigenous wisdom within us, even if we may be quite far removed from that. But we're going back. That's the point, really. We're going back and reclaiming it all as the priestesses and the shamans. The 34 energy is very much connected with the shamanic tradition, and this is through the gene keys and through Richard Rudd's connection of gene keys to certain countries. So he connects gene key 34 to Russia, and especially this ancient shamanic tradition that comes out of Russia. I really like this wisdom keeper called Snow Raven. You can Google her, and she does these incredible like light language, and she can make these incredible bird sounds. And yeah, she's pretty cool, Snow Raven, and she's from one of these tribes in Siberia. So this is this kind of energy, the very, very ancient shamanic energy on the planet. And the totem of the bear, which also then spread out, you know, lots of places in Canada and Native American traditions, I know, have the bear as their totem. So that's that gene key 34 energy as well. Okay, so that's all I'm going to share on the astrology. Oh, apart to say one thing, that is actually squaring, Venus is squaring, oh no, it's not squaring, it's in 60 degrees. So it's in a sextile to Venus. So that actually enhances this kind of, it feels like a healing of the lineage of Venus, of the goddess. That's what's coming through the South Node there. That's kind of what I perceive in it. It's also connected to Uranus through the quincunx, which is a more subtle aspect. It's connected. It's connected to Neptune as well there. Yeah, so it's got there's a sort of quite a lot going on at the beginning of the signs and at the end of the signs. So you're getting quite a lot of things aspecting each other. Right, I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to stop the recording as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please come and join us on Soul Tribe if you want to do the live thing. I'll put the link for you to explore that. But I'm going to stop the recording so we can see what's going on with everyone.